Hi, this is Ayesha, and in this video, I basically wanted to talk about something that pretty much a lot of us go through in life, which is some form of abuse, and from people we know or even people we don't know. But each one of us has gone through some phase where we have felt victimized by intimidating individuals and even people who we trusted. So today I'm speaking about surviving abuse. Over the years, I have met many clients, individuals who have faced some kind of abuse or the other, and they try everything possible from pretending it never happened to trying their best to heal merely by thinking that it's all you really need to do is meditate or some basic be very stern on themselves, really be hard on themselves spiritually. They feel that that is enough, but the truth is, I don't believe any kind of healing can be completed just by a particular meditation technique, or any spiritual practice for that matter. Because as long as we are here, as long as we remain incarnated, we continue to experience many, many lessons in life, and it becomes important for us to pay attention to the experiences instead of running away from them. As I said, there are many ways that people try to overcome any kind of abuse. So today I'm going to talk about how we can work our way to surviving abuse. If you have faced abuse in your childhood, especially by someone, if it's been from someone you really trust, and I don't mean just physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse, any form of position where you were not treated right, you were not treated with respect, with love, with the dignity that you deserve. I would categorize any of it under abuse. Now, with inner child work, which I often speak about as well as have heard others speak about, it often comes from pain that has been there since childhood. If you do not overcome the need to stop feeling like a victim and do something about it, you pretty much drag it all the way into your adulthood and for the rest of your lives. And that sense of having suffered, that sense of having been a victim, remains registered in the mind, in the soul. And no matter what experience you face in future, you tend to compare this and that. You tend to bring in insecurities and your doubts and fears into everything and every person you encounter, you meet in your path as you cross paths with a lot of people. So we tend to often repeat lessons. We often repeat cycles because we do not step out of the cycle. Unless you step out of the hamster wheel, do not expect the wheel to stop on its own. You have to get off it. All right? How do you survive something that has happened to you which was not in your control? Now, firstly, we must understand one thing. As hard as it was for you to undergo that experience, as hard as it was to undergo that experience, you signed up for it, and you have to face it because there is an important lesson, whether it's a soul contract, karmic cycle, or just a lesson that you need to go through because of any of these situations to evolve, to grow stronger. There's never anything that has been put in your life without a reason. So abuse, therefore, is also a part of it. Abuse is also something which you signed up for to experience and grow from it. The first thing that you need to know is there has to be healing on many levels when you're trying to overcome abuse. or you wanted to survive it. Now, physical scars can heal faster and often do become behind scars as well if they're deep enough. But the emotional scars, they remain raw inside of you far too long unless you pay attention to it. So it is important for you to look at the situation from many angles and not just one. The need to remind yourself that you are still seated here and you still tell your story itself means that you are stronger than you thought or think about yourself. So being a victim does not mean that you remain a victim. Being a victim means you step past that and you move to the next level of having survived it. So when you think of having survived something, whether you are a soldier at war or you're someone who underwent a very heavy trauma in your personal life, you have still survived it. You're still a warrior, you're still standing. So you no longer contain the elements of a victim, unless you think so. So your thoughts of who you are will be the biggest paradigm shift for your healing. You understand? So as long as you think that you are a victim, that you were a victim, and you still feel that you are, you feel that self-pity, you feel like there's so-and-so to blame, if you keep going around in cycles like that, you will not be able to step into the next level of growth, which is surviving and becoming a warrior. Nobody ever becomes a warrior without having gone through battles. So you and I are not here on a lifelong vacation without any lessons. As long as we're here, we're going to be facing lessons, and these lessons come in many forms, many places, situations, and phases. So surviving abuse is different for different people. Sometimes all it really takes is an understanding. How does understanding come to you? Well, first of all, looking at it from a different perspective helps you to understand the situation better. How can you possibly look at an abusive situation from a different perspective? Now, if you were to look at the situation itself, if you were to look at the entire thing, as painful as it may seem, I understand that, from a different perspective, running your mind through it, if you look at the person who abused you, there will be patterns in your life where you've experienced similar situations, but you have walked away feeling stronger after that situation. So not everybody keeps going around in circles. Some of us advance to the next level without even really understanding it consciously. So subconsciously you're growing. You learn how to deal with it better. So when you have gone through an abusive experience and you have managed to get out of it, the first thing that you need to do is to work on becoming a survivor than remain a victim. You may need some kind of spiritual assistance or some professional assistance, some kind of support, guidance. And as for me, I've been doing this for many years. I've been helping people understand their karmic cycles, their soul contracts better by explaining to them from various angles. Most of the times, if it's a karma that comes from a past life, it often is a lesson, or if it's often a soul contract where you agree to go through something. So understanding that there has been some past life affliction, something that's connected and cascading into the present life of yours, understanding that heals you, because this is supposed to be some kind of closure for you. You're taking things into a bigger perspective. You're understanding this at a deeper point. So as you move forward in this range, you see what you notice next is that you stop feeling that intense pain. It moves on to the next level of acceptance. If the person who abused you happens to be someone who you trusted or who's maybe even still close with you. How you treat and respond to whatever this person has done to you is not just a one-time, it's not just a one-time situation. There have been people who've lived with the abuser for many years, even decades, and they still move on. It doesn't mean that they have any kind of they're more resilient than you. It simply means that they figure their way around this, But there are also a lot of people who pretty much live through the pain. They live through it. They believe that they are meant to live through it, and that never really helped anyone. So, first it's understanding of the situation. And as I said, just merely healing takes time. And for healing to come into full effect, you need to look at it from multiple angles, right? Now, when you receive additional information of any kind, like if it comes from a past life or if it comes from something that you're meant to experience, you will be able to walk away feeling that you have definitely learned something from that experience. And it's not to victimize you for the rest of your life. The only person who can actually look at yourself as a victim for the rest of your life is yourself. But if you turn out to be a survivor and hop on to the next stage of being a warrior, that's when you can reach out and support others. That's how evolution works. You keep passing it forward. Now, is it possible? A lot of people, when it comes to surviving abuse, we all move on in different ways, but we must understand that not everybody has the privilege of being able to move away or out of an abusive relationship or experience very easily. Especially if you and the abuser live under the same roof and circumstances do not allow you to move on. Especially in the case of some narcissistic marriages, which have probably lasted for many years, and there's a lot of commitment and codependency of sorts involved here. So it's not always possible for somebody to just, walk away. Not everybody can just walk away. So under these circumstances, what can you do? Now, one thing I learned is that if you are, if you are not able to see any open doors, in any situation in life, not just in this, if you don't see any doors, it means those doors are not meant to be there as yet. So most of us would think we're stuck, right? Now you're in a narcissistic relationship for maybe 10 years and you see there's been no way you can get out of this. Instead of feeling stuck, it would be better if you pay attention to what's happening around you and in you. If you are in any place in life, it's because you're meant to be there at that spot. It doesn't mean that, just because there are no doors that you need to be stuck. Some of us don't do anything about it, even if there are doors, out of fear, out of doubts. But I'm talking to those who feel they really have been trying every kind of opportunity. They've been looking for opportunities to step out of something, but they just can't seem to do it. Now, under those circumstances, it means that you're supposed to be there. Sometimes you walk away, from something eventually when you are ready for it. So, in a narcissistic relationship, if you realize that you're not able to move on, if you can't find a doorway and you've been looking for one, and the only thing that you can ever do is to change the way you respond to the entire relationship. For instance, a narcissist is never remorseful. He or she does not believe that there's anything wrong with him or her. So it's always going to be you. You're the victim. You're the culprit. You're the one who's the bad guy in the entire relationship, no matter what you do. All right? You can never keep them 100% happy. It never happens. It's always about control. So under these circumstances, how can you rise over them while you wait for a door to open for you? Now, if you keep feeding into their stimulations, their triggers, that is exactly what they want. To gain control over you, they gain control over your emotions first. And as long as you do not allow that to happen, then you will feel a lot stronger. Now, I know there are many different kinds of intensities when it comes to such relationships. Sometimes it could be throughout the day, sometimes it could be just once a few times a week. Sometimes it could be coupled with physical abuse as well. But I'm trying to explain to those who don't seem to find a way out. If you feel that you're stuck somewhere, you have to pay attention to the immediate environment instead of sucking in all of the emotions constantly, because then you lose clarity. All right? So when it comes to surviving abuse, to move on from the victim mentality to the survivor mentality, you need a different perception. You need to be more of an observer. You need to look for different ways of responding. And lastly, there are situations where people have reached out and moved on with their lives, but they still carry that stigma. It could be a social stigma. It could even be a self-stigma. That you always tend to carry that baggage with you when you move on. No lessons repeat themselves unless necessary. So if you have taken the right steps towards moving forward, towards responding appropriately, towards always ensuring that your dignity and that your self-respect and self-love is in the right place when you deal with the relationship and when you move out as well, will help you to identify your stronger points as you walk out. So you are basically much stronger, and you will be much stronger if you allow it. If you allow it. Nobody else can make you feel stronger unless you do. So to step forward into a new relationship or a new life would mean that you drop the baggages, believing that all you need to carry away from that is the strengths that you acquired from the experience and not anything else. You leave behind your doubts of whether these patterns will keep repeating. You leave the fears of being a victim again, because you no longer are in that victim mode. You are a survivor and you're a warrior. So to step in from the survivor to the warrior mode, it means that you're stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically. You're much more stronger than you were when you were there in that relationship or the experience. So stepping out is very important. The sooner you do it, the better, but you cannot rush healing, as I said. It's a process, don't push yourself. The healing always has to be deep and not shallow. If it's just on the superficial form of healing through some random ritual or meditation technique, no, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that, unblocking some chakras just through a certain meditation or any kind of spiritual practice would be enough to heal you. No, if it was that easy, we wouldn't be here to go through all of these live lessons in this dense plane. So we're here for the living experience, and we shall complete it in every format. The healing has to go from inside out. So which means you need to be consciously working on every single thing that hurts you, to confront it, to understand it, so that you become a warrior. And each one of us has the ability to become a warrior. It's only the mind that keeps telling you every now and then that you went through a certain experience and it broke you down. I want you to know that surviving abuse is not about changing a place or running away from a situation or, just shoving things under the carpet. Surviving abuse involves dealing with yourself, how you feel about it, how you would change the way you think about it, how you would process the information from the experiences on many different angles. Get yourself a spiritual guide or mentor, somebody who can help you to see this experience from a different perspective. It is very important for you to approach abuse from the inside out. So, as you move forward, what you need to know is you are allowing yourself to transform into a warrior from that of a victim. To get to becoming a warrior does not require anything special except the basic, the fundamentals that I have told you right now in this video. I hope this reaches out to as many people as possible, because I know that from having been a spiritual guide for so many years, that a lot of people have a tough time even moving on from the victim mode to the survivor mode. They tend to still somehow, deep in them, somewhere in their core, they carry that victim mentality. It's always about, if I didn't have to go through that, if I didn't have to face this, I would still be here. I would still have done that. I would have become this or that. No. It's all about acceptance. Not accepting it in a negative way. Not being, oh, that was just my fate. No, it was not your fate. It was your destiny to grow. It is your destiny to evolve for each one of us. Our lessons come in many, many, many packages, different packages. All right? No one is ever exempted from these kind of lessons. We all need to go through them. So what you need to know is, you are not a victim from the very next moment after you went through an abuse. You're no longer a victim, right? So you need to know this, that you have never been a victim from the very moment after the abuse took place. You do not have to be. And that is all you need to remember. Work yourself inside out, and you're on your way to becoming the best version of you in this lifetime. Bless you.